Well, hey there, slot car adventurers, and welcome back. Well, I think we got a bit of a lazy one this week. First up, the slotted cars. I have had a little victory this week with the new Mazda. I was able to perform a little bit of surgery. I took let's see if we can find it. No. There's that one, this one, the Mazda Lola. I was able to take out the wiring. I fired up the soldering iron, removed the wiring with the clips, transplanted it into the Mazda, and took the slotted SP43 chip out of the one Mad Max car, one of the Mad Max cars that was still functioning, sort of. It's on its last leg, so I've removed the chip from that. Both those Mad Max cars really are display vehicles now. As I said at the time, crap. Don't know why. I'd like to know who was actually manufacturing them at the time, because compared to these other Scalextrics I've added recently to the collection, the difference is night and day. It's a shame. I'll do some work on them eventually, fix them up, get some third-party components, parts, and trick them out, and they will run again. But it's all about the Mazda this week, trying to get this one going, and I've had some great success. This car is not only going, it is absolutely flying. It's every bit as good as the Porsche. So you may have seen the teaser I've posted. I'm going to do that high-speed, insane, slotted race cinematic that I've been speaking about. So today, I thought, well, while I start to actually shoot it, why not show you how I go about doing that? And hopefully you guys will get some ideas and start making your own cinematics. You imagine flooding the slot car space with awesome high-speed action slot car cinematics. There'd be so much to watch. You'd never watch normal TV. Well, I don't watch normal TV now. It's crap, isn't it? Yeah, well, anyway, I'll show you my process, exactly what I'm doing, what gear I'm doing. I'll show you how I color grade, or I guess that's the terminology, the pictures that come out of the camera. People are often asking me in the comments, what camera are you using? How are you doing? And, it's just a GoPro 8 or my iPhone, that's it. But they are tricked up a little bit when I'm editing, and I'll show you exactly how to go about that to get the effect that I do. But I do encourage you to do your own thing, to get your own look. It is a form of art, I guess. It's important to put your own little stamp on it. Have a look at Raul at Conquest Racing. He is so into his camera technology. He's getting some great pictures, some great shots, and he's got his own unique style. That's important when you start making your own cinematics. Try to find your own style, put your own stamp on it. Anyway, let's show you a few pictures how I went about getting this car going. My God, it is so good. I love this car. Yeah, I was going to say maybe it's my favourite now. Every week I've got a new favourite, hey? But this car, along with the Porsche, is going incredible. Now, as you can see in these pictures, like I said, I removed the wiring and the clips. I had to unsolder them. The Mazda Lola, I discovered the reason why the wires were hanging out when I opened it up straight out of the box, the little Allen-headed screws that hold the things in, they're not there, they're gone. So a bit of a quality control issue there on Slot.it's part. I think they have them manufactured in China. Not that that's a bad thing these days. I get some brilliant stuff from China lately, sometimes better than anywhere else. But on this occasion, they dropped the ball. But I've got spares. I'm going to be able to fix that car up. I've got parts on order. I'm expecting a package any moment. It might arrive during this episode. And I've got some more slotted chips and 3, I believe, of these wiring connectors. I'll use one of those to put back in the Lola and see if we can actually get 3 out of 4 cars going. Yeah, wouldn't that be incredible? We might even sneak these extra cars into this video we're going to shoot, if they're ready in time. Now, as you can see, I was able to install it successfully. There was an issue with the chip though. Once the chip was in place, thinking I had triumphantly actually got the thing done, when I tried to put the car body back on top, oh my god, there's about a 4 or 5 millimeter issue where you cannot put the car back together. The underside of where the driver sits is in the way of the chip. So folks, if you're going to do this, be wary. I'm not going to show you what I did, but let's just say I did say to my wife, this car, this is a keeper. I won't be ever on selling this to anyone. I can't on-sell it after what I just did. Yes, I had to resort to some plastic surgery. I had to chop the guy's legs off, basically. The driver's legs were removed, as well as the floor of the cockpit, and that was the only way I could get this car to fit, put it back together. It broke my heart, because I couldn't stand the fact that I was thinking, what are you doing? There was no other way around it. Long story short, I got it back together, and this car is incredibly fast. It's super smooth. I did break the spoiler, the more decorative, ornate spoiler, the more detailed spoiler. I broke it within, well, third lap, and it was broken. It sort of, the arse spun out around the first hairpin and collided to the edge of the bridge support, which is made out of timber, and that was the end of that spoiler. So it's now sporting the backup spoiler, which is quite a lot heftier. It's a lot more solid. You really can't tell the difference. Frankly, I think they should never have given us the option. It should have been the stronger one. In fact, the whole mounting mechanism should have been stronger. This is a fault with this particular car. So maybe the thing to do is, if you're going to run it without the spoiler, and then just put the spoiler on when you're displaying the vehicle, because that is the fastest spoiler destruction I've experienced so far out of all the cars. Heartbreaking, but character building. So folks, let's have a look at what else I've got here. So we'll look at these other slotted cars if and when my package arrives. Wouldn't it be great to get 4 out of 4 running? And I've got a couple of new Scalextric. Man, that X, I tell you, I'm sick and tired of trying to pronounce that. The new age way of pronouncing the word. It was always Scalextric. I got the Lamborghini Countach. I think I showed you this a few episodes ago. There was the white one, but when I looked at this one, I thought that's got a bit more detail. I like that a bit better. I do like the white one. Maybe I'll get the white one too. And I see there's another one out now. This has been chipped. It is awesome. So we'll run a few laps with that. And yes, I successfully got the Knight Rider car chipped using the chip out of, I can't remember where it came from. It might have, it came out of the other Scalextric's Mad Max car, the grungy one. The grungy one that didn't seem to work, and then all of a sudden, yeah. Actually, no, that's not what happened. My God, there's so much happening. No, the chip, what happened was the slotted chip had died. That's what happened. The slotted chip failed. So yes, I've put that aside. So this is another chip. This one's out of the one I had in this guy. So yeah, so not only a little bit of quality control, one of the chips out of 7 I've got, one has failed already in just a couple of months. So, slotted. Might need to look at your QC, eh? might be a good idea, because these cars, the slotted cars, I am still a huge fan of them. I still think they're great when they work. It's interesting, you get a lot of messages or comments and say, oh, they've got to be tuned, Yeah, we get that. They've got to be tuned. Knew that right from the start. But it's got to at least work out of the box, hasn't it? It's got to at least make it around the track once or twice. The tuning is about optimizing its performance, not making the thing go, period. You expect it to run out of the box. And I've had quite a bit of bad luck. Everybody's loving these slotted cars, showing me videos. See, mine's working quite well. Yeah, great. Mine are not, But, well, two are now, so they do require a bit of attention to detail. I had to borrow my daughter's modelling magnification goggles to see these stupid, tiny little parts that are in there. But once you get your head around it, once you stave back that fear of firing up the soldering iron, you can really bring these things to life. So, I've learned a few things, and I'm pretty confident I'm going to get these other two slot-its working just fine. So we'll run these two. This one's cool with the little light. And also, I've done a lap before with my... Oh, this is a great car, isn't it? Look at that. With the Porsche 124. I haven't done a video with the Audi yet, so we'll run this. And, that's why I've got these. I've got the first, I believe it's the first of the new Carrera 124 cars, and you're not going to believe this. It's the new Ferrari. It should be here any moment. It's available this month. Now, it's not the one with the Revell logo. It's the same model car, but they've got a couple. But I think it looks even better than the Revell. I'm going to get the Revell version in 132. This one, I thought, that's got to be 124. I want the extra detail. That's something special. It's going to go great with these two. So, folks, that's coming any moment. It's on pre-order. Arrives this week. Not this week, this month. And you might be seeing it first on track here on Hughes Garage. So we'll see what happens. You know what? This just might be my latest favourite slot car. Well, let's talk about slot car cinematics. As I mentioned, I'm about to shoot a high-speed action cinematic featuring these two slotted cars, and perhaps the other two if I can get them fixed in time. In fact, you never know who might make an appearance in this video. Anything could happen. But I'd like to run you through my approach. How do you even start on something? Where are the ideas? What's the process? It's pretty straightforward. I always go by the old 3-act format. Novelists use it, movie makers, filmmakers use it. It's been around since the dawn of time. That's because it's good, it works. You know, Act 1, you establish the characters, who they are, what they do, the location. Act 2, we get immersed in the drama and all the goings on, and some sort of disaster might happen. And then Act 3, it's the battle to overcome, and they're either triumphant or it's a failure. And it's the classic format for telling a story. And that's the approach that I take when I've been doing these cinematics, is you're telling a little story, you're having a little bit of fun. It's not just cars going around, anyone can do that. We're telling a little story. Now, I don't necessarily sit down and script it all out from scratch. You know, that's ridiculous. If you want to do that, knock yourself out. No, I basically take a fairly organic approach where I get my shots sort of planned out basically, get the cars on the track, get them programmed, and just start shooting shot by shot. Now, how do I go about that? Let me show you.
Okay, so here is our layout. It's a race course, and what this video is all about, it's a race. We've got a start point, and guess what? It's also the finish point. But there's a lot of stuff going on in between, and it's going to happen several times to be interesting. So first thing you want to do is divide the layout up into sectors. So we've obviously got this as Sector 1, our main straight. This is basically where all the excitement happens. Every time they do a lap and they get back here, it's a celebration. They didn't just slot, they didn't crash, they made it, and now they're going to take another lap. So this is usually Sector 1. Once they get around the corner, Sector 2 is sort of between here and up through here. You've seen these shots quite a few times. Now then, over here is what I call Sector 3. And of course, beyond that is Sector 4, the downhill run. And I just love getting this shot here where you swing across or go the other way and the cars fly down. It works beautifully, especially with more than a few cars. Like the opener, I've got 8 cars. It looks great. I love the way they sort of work the way down. Now, from over there, that is the next sector. You've seen that shot. Let's get around there. So I like to get the camera down in here and swing around. That makes for a great shot. There's lots of drama going on there. And of course I use one of the wider angle lenses, which really adds some magic. The next sector is obviously down the middle. I've got the Ferris wheel. We can shoot underneath, showing the cars going under. The next sector after that is here. You've seen that a few times. And then of course after that, after the second hairpin, we've got this final sector which takes us all the way back to the finish line, and I often shoot from that corner as well, so you could call that section one last sector. I lost count. That's probably 8 or 9, but you get the idea. Now, with each sector, what you need to do is for each additional lap you do, make sure that you just don't say we're on this sector here.
and we usually get the car zipping towards the lens, and I follow them around. I'm holding the camera. It's a handheld movement. I'm doing this little dance. It tracks beautifully, looks great on screen. Again, use a wider angle lens for that sort of thing. So with each sector, you choose a camera position. So that first time I might do the sweep, or I might leave that for later when things are starting to intensify. The first lap, I might be here and just go like that. And then I'll pick up the shot when maybe from over here. Cut to that and then follow them that way. But here's what you do. This will help you immensely. The next lap, don't do the same bloody movement. Think, okay, we've already done that. Think of them as guitar licks, you know. You don't want to play the same all night long. Gets boring. So you want to come up with as many different camera positions for each sector and never repeat the same position or movement in that sector. Otherwise, it'll get very boring and repetitive. And you see this, you see this sometimes on some of these videos. It's like, you already did that, mate. Oh, he's doing it again. And he's doing it again. It's the exact same thing for every lap they do. Try a different angle for each lap for each sector. So if we're doing 5 laps, this sector is going to have 5 different camera angles. So 1, I might go like that. 2, I might go from here and swing around and follow it like that. 3rd lap, I might go around the other side, like so, and I might stand in the corner here, and I'll track them around, and I'll get down low here and swing slightly there. Try to get that so it's nice and centre. That looks dramatic there, and just press in as they're driving away. Pick it up from the other side. You get my meaning? Each sector in each lap, make sure you're not repeating the same camera angle or camera movement. And also plan it so the most dramatic camera angles and camera movements are happening later on as the race is beginning to intensify, as we're getting closer to that finish line. Now, here's my little GoPro 8. I use this probably 90% of the time. If I'm not using this, I'm using my iPhone. Now, the beauty of the GoPro is it's got 4 lens settings built in. So there's a tight setting, there's a linear setting, which is just your typical fixed lens type sort of thing. It's got the wide angle lens, and then my favorite on any GoPro is the super wide angle. You use these as composition tools. You're selecting the lens, whichever is appropriate for the shot you've set up, whatever angle you've set up. So let me give you an example of that. Okay, this is the super wide angle, and as you can see, I can stand at a corner of the layout and it'll capture everything. And if we get down really low to the track, it begins to warp a little bit and looks very dramatic. So super wide angle is an excellent choice for corners. You can get those really cool super wide angle, very dramatic looking images, and they look especially exciting when all the cars zip by. Now, if I change lenses, say I go to the ultra tight one, have a look at the difference. Okay, that's the tight lens, and as you can see, the drama has just disappeared. And if we go down here, it's a bit, we're not seeing all the table, we're not capturing anything what I'd call dramatic. It's just, it is what it is. So you would choose the ultra tight lens, obviously, if you're doing close-ups. So if we're going closer into things. Now, the problem with the GoPro, well, it's a problem for me, I can never get the thing to focus properly. So if we go in past a point, it gets blurry, and I'm sure you've seen that countless times. I get to the point where I just give up. It's like, okay, it's not going to go in focus, so to hell with it. I'm just going to get the best shot I can and live with it. So it's pretty good, but there is a threshold where it goes all blurry. Now, I'm going to hold my hand there and I'm going to switch back to the super wide lens so you see the difference. And there it is, huge difference. And if we come up, look at that. It's like super wide angle, capturing all that slot car scenery goodness, and you can walk around and it looks pretty smooth. It's like we're in a drone, a camera drone. And that brings me to the style of shooting. Now, you might be tempted to get yourself a gimbal and all these ultra smooth shot type tracking devices, and that's great. But we're not making hair shampoo commercials. We're not making motion pictures. This is YouTube. We're making a slot car video. It's a form of motorsport, isn't it? So if you watch a sports coverage on mainstream TV, a lot of the cameramen are on the ground and they've got the camera on the shoulder. It's handheld, it's off the shoulder, they're moving around, and the camera's shaky, right? It's getting that action, it's adding that drama. It's like news gathering footage. Oh, drama, dramatic. This happened and that happened. Oh, look at this. Oh, it's all wobbly and shaky, and it adds to the drama. And the only time you see a super smooth shot is overhead, when they've got one of those cable cameras or a drone camera or an actual helicopter. It's ultra smooth for the most part. That's where I like to try and get it ultra smooth, in the super wide lens settings, looking over the top of the whole layout. Okay, now this is just the wide angle setting, and it's still a pretty good wide angle, not as extreme, and the edges are not quite as distorted. So this one is a good intermediate wide angle, I find, for, you know, those shots I might be tracking something around here like so. It works well. The wide angle still adds a sense of drama, but it's not overdone, it's not overkill. But it's probably the lens I use the most. If we look down here, you know, you could put the camera there and you've got the 2 tracks in place. It works well. If I'm up the back here, it's usually the camera I use for this tracking shot. And again, I'm just doing a handheld thing. I'm walking up and down here. I'm holding the camera. There's no tricks, there's no gimbal. It's just me walking backwards. I might use the setting, what do they call it, stabilization setting. Unfortunately, I found it goes faulty. It does funny things from time to time. It did it to me once during that sound workshop episode. It just went haywire. So I tend not to use it. It's not really necessary. Again, a little bit of bumpiness adds to the drama. It works well, especially when you put the shots in slow motion. It can look really cool. So the lens choices are extremely important. They do this when they're making a motion picture. They have all sorts of different lenses to choose from to get that different depth of field. And again, they use them like compositional tools. It's not about, oh, let's get a pretty picture. It's about telling a story and choosing the right lens that is going to best tell that story. So if we're trying to present a character as being a little unsettled, a little bit weird, a little bit odd, and something strange is going on, you know, we won't have a super tight lens. We'll pretty much have to go for a linear lens or a wide angle, and we might zoom in whilst twisting the camera, and we'll have a da-da kind of music sting. Or, you know, we might have a look down track here, and if things are going a little bit awry, we might be, you know, doing this sort of thing as the cars zip by underneath. It's up to creativity, but again, remember, you're telling a story, and the camera movements are tools to help tell that story, to convey that idea, that emotion, that whatever's going on in the story at that point. So very important, choose the right lens for the shot. Now, the next most important thing, obviously, is lighting. And all I've got, first of all, these are my daughter's lights. I don't even have any lights. And
this was a light kit. There's lens. I got this off eBay for her. I think it was a Christmas present. Excuse me, burping. Christmas present or a birthday present. And it came in a kit. It came with all the stands. It came with a special frame that you can assemble to attach backdrops. It came with sandbags. So there was 4 lights with 4 light stands, 4 of these weird, wacky, twirly bulbs. There's 2 of these reflective umbrellas, and 2 of them have got these softbox things, which it's just a sort of a scrim. It's all soft stuff using Velcro. Nothing particularly special. What this does is disperse the light. It evens the light out. It's not a hard light. It sort of diffuses it all. Like we used to use scrim when I was working in TV, the tungsten lights or whatever they were. They would have these barn doors, these metal barn doors, which you could adjust to focus the light in a certain area. And we'd peg on something called scrim. We'd also use actual parachutes, like car commercials. We used to fly a giant parachute, a white one, suspend it from the rigging, and the lights would shine down on that, and we could adjust it to sort of change the diffusion slightly. And you'd see these. What's the problem with shooting new cars? They're so shiny, they reflect every bloody thing in the studio, so diffusing the light would go a long way to help get rid of that effect. So these are basically for idiots. If you're not too good at lighting, these will help you out a lot, because you just point them and you're done. Any idiot can do it. So this whole kit cost about $96, and it was off eBay or Amazon. I believe you can still get kits like this. They're not good quality. We've had them for several years now. They still work. I only use the 3 lights. I bring the 4th one down sometimes, but I rarely need to use it. But I suggest if you haven't got any lights, these are perfect. You don't need to blow hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And if anyone tells you otherwise, don't believe them.
Okay, so apart from a good set of budget lights, I've got a few other knickknacks. I've got one of these twirly, you can bend them type tripods. These were part of a kit. I think it was $39 from Amazon. It's got all sorts of stuff in it that I rarely use, but this one has come in handy when you're putting the camera in an awkward spot. 9 times out of 10, I'm just taking the camera off the whatever it's attached to, and I'm just sitting it at track level. And see how the lens is sort of sitting upwards? If you turn it upside down, it automatically jigs itself. So look at that. It's now, even though the camera's upside down, it's made the picture the right way up. That's a cool feature. Being a sports camera, an action cam, I guess it's for parachutists or surfboard people that are going over a wave, they're flipping over, so it tracks the action or whatever it does. But by putting it upside down, the lens is as close down to the ground as it possibly can get. So I do that a lot to get those very low shots. I'll sit it next to the track like that, hit it in record, and just run the cars past. Done. Next. That easy. And then this one came with the camera as part of a production kit. It's got the GoPro logo on. It's for, all the handheld stuff. Use it a lot. It's also got built-in legs, so it'll stand upright, and it's extendable like so. I use this more than anything actually. But then we've got these. This one is for the iPhone, and it's an extender, so I can put the camera in there. And you've played pool or snooker or 8-ball, right? Go out and get practicing your pool skills, because they're not only for playing 8-ball and pool and snooker. This is awesome for getting these shots under those bridges where you get it in there, and as the cars are approaching, you're pulling back as such, and then getting the hell out of the way before they crash into you. And that happens often. Very important piece of kit. Again, eBay, Amazon, $20 cheap as. And this is the one I use for the GoPro. It's got the right attachment. I might need a new one because this is starting to get a bit loose. The camera will go, yeah, sometimes, even though it's tightened up. But yeah, this is my main one. And again, you know, cool. And you know, you can zoom in, follow. You can have the car set up, and I'll have them set to ghost mode. I'll hit the button 5, 4, 3, and then I've got to try to time the movement with them taking off, and it chases them away down the track. And another trick is I might be twisting slowly as I'm pushing the camera away. I'm also twisting it. I've done that a few times to add a little bit of extra drama and intrigue. So these are very important. And that's it. That's all I use. There's nothing expensive. There's no super duper. Well, what was this? This was $400 or $500 when I got it. I got it brand new. I've had it quite some time now. Like I said, these were in part of the kit and the lights. So $300 worth of stuff all up. And then of course there's your video editing software, and we'll have a look at that in a second. So that's all I use. Everything you've seen me do was done, well, not even with all this stuff. But yeah, I'm estimating at least 90% of the time I'm shooting with this. I just love the way it looks when I color correct the images. I like it, the way they turn out, very crisp. The iPhone that I'm recording on now, this is the new iPhone 15 Max Pro, is that it? Pro Max. It has got an incredible camera in it, does great video, and it can do 4K. It's got some cinematic effects in it. I've got to learn how to use it properly. There's a lot of hidden features apparently. But if you've got an iPhone, one of the more recent iPhones, you've got everything you need. It'll take you far. And I'll show you in a moment what I do with the shots. But first, let's get a couple of shots. Okay, so I've already shot the opening for this video and used it as a teaser, which you've probably already seen. But that's actually the beginning of this cinematic. So where I've got to pick up is from where the cars have taken off. In the teaser, I threw them into slow motion. But when I do the actual proper edit, I think I'm doing a slow motion thing like this as the lights counting down. I might stop here and then they take off. What I'm going to do is cut the slow motion setting at the point of taking off, and these will take off at normal speed. And trust me, these cars are fast. A lot of the time with these slot car videos, you actually have to slow them down, or in fact slow down the footage, because by the time you start editing, you see that they're just a blur. They zip by and you don't see any detail. You just see this flash of a car. So again, I'm going to have to slow these down a little bit because these are super fast. But I do intend to make this rather quick, the fastest of all the car cinematics I've done to date. So I'm going to switch over to normal speed as they take off. Then there's a shot, I think it was from here, and it tilts up or cranes upwards as the cars pass by underneath. That's in slow motion too in the teaser. I'm going to put that to normal speed and the cars will flash by underneath. And so this is where we're going to start shooting. So we're going to be looking at sector 2. So the cars have been programmed. They are in, I better do something. They are in ghost mode at the moment. I'll program them in ghost mode, but sometimes I'll just have all the cars that are on the track that I'm featuring in any particular shot. I might have them all tuned in to the same controller, so when I push this down, all the cars move. Now, the problem with that is every car moves exactly at the same speed as every other car. You're not seeing some inching forward or inching back, like when you put them in ghost mode and you give them each their own speed setting. And I don't have the luxury of having a whole crew here. I'm shooting these things. I'm working alone mostly, 99.9% of the time. So I have to rely on ghost mode or putting all the cars to the same controller. And it can be a handful. I've got the camera in one hand, I've got the controller in the others. I'm setting up the cars. I'm pushing this down, keeping it out of shot, and then doing my little dance at the same time. Yeah, it's a crazy place. But you know what? If I watch the footage back and there's 2 seconds of usable footage, boom, I got the shot. Next. It's triumphant. So, what I got to do here before I don't want this to get damaged, so I've got to be careful here. I've got to set the speed back to that one. Okay. So, we'll do a little test. Yeah, it's happening. At this point, I don't want the cars to be absolutely flying. We'll increase their velocity as the video goes on. But for the first lap, it's really just the establishing lap. We just want some nice shots as smooth as possible through each sector. Just make it look kind of elegant. We're setting up the scene. Let's just check these, how fast they're going. Okay, now that's a nice manageable velocity. I can work with that. And I don't think they're going to get damaged. Now, another important thing to do at this point, which I actually haven't done yet, but I need to, is get some black duct tape. Cut out some little squares and place them over all the sensors. You do not want these things flipping in the middle of a shot and giving you an unexpected outcome. I usually... What are you doing there? My God. The guys from Magnetic sent that one over and it moves around the layout. It's sort of a running in joke, if you like. You never know where they're going to pop up. So for Sector 2, I think I'm just going to do something like that just to kick off. So I might use this hand and try not to bump into this light. So I've got my lights positioned where I want them to be. I don't like to totally flood the track with lights. I try to think about, well, where would the sun be? The sun would be coming from typically one pinpoint in the sky, and that's where I usually go, where's the sun? That's where my main light source is going to be, and then I'll use the other lights to help fill in from the sides if need be. But you want those shadows falling like reality. You don't want it just washed out with light. So again, be creative with how you use your lights, be tasteful, and you just think, how would Mother Nature do it? If you get into strife, you can't figure out what to do, how would Mother Nature do it? Usually the easiest way. So what I've got to do, I'm working alone, and yes, this is how I've done every video. I've got my lights sorted, they're exactly where I need them. I've got to hit record on this, I've got to hit this, and I've got a little countdown to race over there, get into position, and try to capture the shot. And then once I've captured your shot, I've got to come running back and hit stop before these bloody things crash and smash and break into 100 pieces. I'm not always quick enough. Trust me. So we're recording. Here we go. Run, 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 run. Here comes the shot. Okay, got it. Run back. Hit. Made it. No damage. Good. So there's our next shot. Okay, I'm going to watch it back. Let's see what we got out of that one. All right, good. I like that. We got about a split second of a shot, but it's fantastic angle. The cars look great as they pass underneath. I've cut off my little bit of duct tape. I'm going to put this over the sensor, but not the rails. And this black duct tape usually is enough. Sometimes you might need to double layer it. But every lane changer in the track, it's a good idea to cover them over while you're shooting. Now, if you want some lane changes, that's part of the plan. Obviously, take them off and you just shoot the same shot over and over again until the cars do what you bloody well want them to do. And yeah, they got a mind of their own. It might take you 10 takes or even more before they do exactly what you're trying to achieve. Sometimes I just throw my hands in the air and go, okay, I give up, I'll go with it. Yeah, like the video that had the Shell Helix car, I intended for this one to win, but it kept having a mind of its own, kept crashing, and in the end I just went, okay, after the third time I went, okay, this car wants to crash, it doesn't want to win, we'll leave it there. But it was entertaining. You remember that one? That was the one where the McLaren invaded the race. What was it? BMW versus McLaren. And I am at some point shooting a Revenge of McLaren video, a sequel to that one. That's going to be a lot of fun. Hey, it might even be this one. You never know. Imagine McLaren invading the Slot.it race and winning. He's got to have a win. He's lost a couple of times, hasn't he? Anyway, I've got that duct tape in place. I'm going to get another shot coming in from this way. Okay, but before I do it, I'm going to try a different lens. I'm going to go with the tight lens. So we'll be transitioning from, I believe it's the linear lens. So let me change lenses. Okay, that's pretty good, and we're a bit dark there, so I'm going to bring the light over a little closer. Now the problem is it's an obstacle I've got to get around when I do my run to get the shot, but that's enough. I do like the fact we've got some darkness in the back straight here because it adds a bit of mystery. Ooh, a bit of spooky. So let's push the button and get this shot. Here we go. Run. Oh! I tripped over. Push the stop button. Stop. Oh, saved them. And there you go. That's pretty much it. I'll work my way slowly around the track, one shot at a time, one sector at a time, figure out what camera angle, movement, are the lights in the right place, what sort of lens do I need for the shot. Have a good supply of batteries, whatever you're using. I've got 3 of these and a special charger. Because you go through them probably within the hour, definitely need it. But I obviously don't run around back and forth hitting the stop button. I use the iPad with the Smart Race software, and I'll have that with me around the back if I'm getting shots from there, and I'll just use the start stop on the iPad. What else? Yeah, that's it. It's just a matter of putting together one lap at a time. I work in a linear fashion with these things. And usually I'll complete one full lap back to the finish line and do that in an evening, take my time. And yeah, I get annoyed a lot. Things don't always go the way you want them to. It gets frustrating. But look, when you look back at those shots and you've captured the right movement in the cars, it's sort of a marriage between the car movement and the camera movement, moving in the opposite direction. Sometimes you look at it and you think, how the hell did I manage to get that shot? That looks great. Other times you're like, reshoot. But for the most part, it turns out in the end. Editing is an art form in itself, and it can take a bunch of seemingly fairly straightforward shots and make them very exciting. So that's a whole different thing. I think we've got enough shots for you to get the idea. So I think the next thing to do is take this up to my little editing spot, my messy home office, extract the footage onto the hard drive, open her up and show you what I do with the editing and the colour grading. And here we are in my little editing nook, and where I pay all the bills, and yeah, let's have a look. I've brought in some shots. I've got 2 of the raw shots I used in the teaser. which form the very beginning of this race sequence. And then I've actually got two versions of the first shot. I'm not sure which one to use. We'll make a decision. And then I've got the secondary shot that was also used in the teaser. And then I've got the snippet we just did. We did that one. Yeah, that one. And then we did the one heading off away from us. Where are they? There they are. So what you're seeing on the screen, let's just play the four of these. And what you're seeing there is, welcome to my nightmare. This computer is so piss weak. It can't even play the footage back sometimes. And I'm only recording it in standard HD, 1080p. It's not 4K. Sometimes I'll record in 2K. It can barely play it back. So a lot of the time I'm flying blind here. I can't watch the transitions back. But look, that's my problem. That's the stupid nonsense I deal with. I do not see any sense in investing thousands of dollars in the latest Apple computer because making a few videos for YouTube? Who's paying me to do that? No one. That would be no one. It's not worth it. It's not financially viable. So I just work with what I've got, and I get there. It's weird. Some days it plays them back fine. Let's try again. There you go. That just played it back without any troubles. So your guess is as good as mine with what it's doing. This is Final Cut Pro. I get Final Cut and Logic installed on my Apple computers whenever I've got new ones. I got this one about 7 years ago, I think. They last and they last and they last. I'm not into this upgrading religiously because quite often it messes up the programs you've become accustomed to using. Suddenly things stop working, and in extreme cases your project won't even open. So once things are working just great, I leave them the hell alone until the day comes when I absolutely must get a new computer. I don't think I will be. I think this might be the last one I ever get. We'll see. Now, there are all sorts of editing programs. There's some great little apps that you can get for the iPhone, I believe. Whatever tickles your fancy. I use Final Cut Pro. There you go. And I'm not going to tell you why it's better or why it's worse. It's just a video editing program. That's it. All of them pretty much do the same thing. They do it in different ways. They have the tool sets arranged differently, but fundamentally they're all doing the same thing. They're all capable of the same thing. So whatever one you're using, learn how to use it. There's lots of tutorials on YouTube that'll show you how to use your specific editing program. This is not an editing tutorial. I'm showing you the creative side of putting together a car sequence. So let's have a look at these shots. First of all, these are the raw shots straight out of the camera. That's how they look. I've got pretty standard settings on the GoPro. I haven't gone in and done any special tricks. But as you can see, the darker sections of the picture are not really black, they're grey. So it comes out looking pretty much like anybody's camera footage. This one's a good example, so we'll use this one. One of the most important things you need to use when you're working on your edit is a video waveform. Now, how to use this? You've got a graph, you're going from 0 up to 100, and then a little bit further up, you've got this 103 line. Anything above this, they're the highlights. And if you push the signal higher, they'll start to clip out and it'll just be white pixels. down here is your darker tones, what's supposed to be your blacks, and all the black content in this picture isn't actually black, it's grey. And you can see, because look at that big gap of nothingness from the zero line to the bottom of where those blacks are. So we need to adjust this, and this is how you do it. On here, you've got this triangle, and this is the colour correction area. First up, I've got exposure, I've got saturation, and I've got colour. Now, with colour, you can go in there and use these. You can slide these back and forth, move them up and down. And as you can see, I can pull red out of the picture, all that sort of thing. Sometimes I have to pull a little bit of red out, probably that much, because when I use the iPhone, it hates the overhead lights in the garage. They seem to make everything red. So sometimes I need to look at that. But I start at exposure. And so if we look at our highlights one, if I move that up and down, let's have a look at the waveform. See, we can move it up to that line to where it needs to be. Now, what I do is, with a shot that has actual lights in shot, they're very bright. I tend to push those peaks up to the 103, and that gives me the optimum luminance in my video shot. Now, I generally leave the midtones alone. Let's go down to the shadows or the blacks. If I'm moving that up and down, you can see what's going on there. Let's have a look what the waveform's doing. If we bring just the very tip down to the zero, it's looking better, but that's still grey. That's starting to look like black. Really, you're wanting to get this down below zero. So let's pull that down and now have a look. Look at that. That's starting to really look a bit better. So it was like that. Now it's like that. So you really tend to crush those blacks. That is technically a pretty good setting. I also go into saturation, and I use this global control, and I just bump it up a little bit. It just makes the colours pop without going crazy. The greens are nice and green, the reds are reds, etc. So back to exposure. Sometimes I'm thinking, I want that track to look really black, so I might pull it way down. What's that? Minus 35%. Yeah, that's a typical setting for me. And then if we just run the shot, it's really starting to look high contrast. It's looking more expensive. And that's typically the Hughes garage setting. I just bring those, that's normal. Look at that. There. Bring that down and all that ugly just disappears. Best little feature in editing. And yes, you have to go through and apply this to every single shot. What do you think they do in TV and in filmmaking? They're color grading and color correcting. This color's pretty good. I don't need to do any color correction. I'm happy with that. So I'm going to have that set at minus, let's say 40. That looks pretty good. Let's have a look again. I'm happy with that. Now, that doesn't mean you make every shot minus 40 on those black levels. It depends on the shot and how much light is in there. So I don't know which one. This is the alternate take I used in the teaser. That one gets a bit wobbly before the cars are even sort of here. So I think the other one I like better, although the camera's on a bit of an angle. But it makes it look a bit intense. Yeah, I think I'll use that. I'll stick to using that one. So I'm going to go over here. Let's pull that down until it looks about right. That's looking right about there at minus 25. What about luminance? Let's push that up a little bit. There's a couple of lights, so yeah, let's bump that up there. Yeah, that's starting to pop. We'll go to saturation, push the global up a bit. Yep, that's brought the color out a bit more extreme. Love that red reflection on the track. I think the blacks are looking pretty cool. Let's play and see what that looks like. Nice. Very nice. All right, this shot we've done. And I'll just go through all the shots individually and do all those adjustments and just try to get a continuity going that it looks correct going from shot to shot. And I do this before I start trimming them. So give me a moment and I will go through and do all that adjustment. Okay, that's all done. All the colours are looking pretty good. All the levels, I think they're pretty good. Of course, as you start putting things together, you'll revisit that and just double check things, fine tune things. Nothing's ever really finished until it is. So now I'm going to trim. Just for this exercise, I've trimmed the beginning of the clip and it's taking off from here. And I don't have it in slow motion. I've got it in normal speed. That's what it will be happening in the actual edit. In the teaser, I put it down to half speed. So I'm going to pick an edit point. And it's certainly before all that. All right, so the next shot, I'm going to have a little bit of creative license. I'm going to show this shot until they're just past the overhead starter light, and we can creep through at a frame. I'm just using the arrows. I'm liking about there. So I'm going to trim this clip back to about there. And I'm also going to do a little digital fade with the audio, even though I may not end up using any of this audio that was captured with the camera itself. I might replace it with brum brum sound effects. I haven't decided yet. Or maybe a combination of both. Now the next shot, where to pick it up from? I'm going to pick it up from the beginning of their journey down the straight. Probably there. So you're kind of repeating what they've already done. They've driven down the straight, but this is for creative effect. It's like, yeah, dramatic effect, whoosh, whoosh. At normal speed, if I put them together, now see that jerkiness in between? Again, that's this computer on playback during editing, just not quite coping with the quality of the images. And it's ridiculous because, as I said, they're just in 1080p, nothing particularly large like 4K, but yeah, can't everything. When you bounce a finished render of your edit, none of that is a problem. It does it properly, but if I can't see what the transition is doing, I'll just jog through it, frame it by frame. Yeah, look at that. That's great. So we go da 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 da. Yeah, that is going to work beautifully. Now those colours, those blacks, yeah, that's pretty good. Nice, those cars look great. They look scary actually. All right, next cut point. Now they've passed under the camera. Most people think, okay, you edit there or there, and that would be incorrect. Because if you edit there and then you do the same thing with the next shot, one frame before they... Well, let's have a look. Actually, where are we going to pick that up from? All right, let's just say they're roughly in the same spot where we've left off. Let's try and edit there. I'm going to trim it, drag it over. See, even just something like dragging it over, there's a lag time. It's just not coping. Watch the transition. What the hell just happened then? Did I not? I forgot to do the trim. Here we go. There it is. Give me that. All right, watch. It's not going to work. You watch and see. So even though we're dealing with the lag, yeah, I have to sit here and put up with this every week. Every video of mine you see, I have suffered for my art. Yes. Now, that kind of works because we're already seeing the cars where they are approximately positioned where we're leaving off there. So that will work. But if it was a case where the cars are not visible on the next shot and you're taking the frame before they enter the screen, what happens on playbacks, it's too fast for the eye. And what I like to do in that instance is give it about 3 frames either side of the edit. So there they are, they've passed through. Let's give it 1, 2, 3. There's our edit point. And I'll try it with this. Let's see how that goes. Yeah, now the way it's holding on there, that's false. That's just the computer being useless. I'm going to be unable to show you this in this mode. I'll have to bounce this, but once we get into some intense edits, having 2 or 3 frames either side really, really helps the edit and the transition, as well as the cars. If you don't do that, they tend to be a blur. They lose your eye tracking the movement. It's too fast, too quick, and your brain can't keep up with it. So if a couple of frames, I typically work with 3 either side. You could try 2. In this instance, I don't think we need to do that because, as we saw, we're picking it up where we're leaving off. So it kind of works. Bloody hell. What I'll do, I'm going to do a quick bounce of that and then I'll show you what it actually looks like. And yes, this is what I have to do sometimes. Just a second. Okay, here's the bounce of that clip, 3 shots joined together. But you watch carefully that edit between the last 2 images. This one. Watch it again. Now, it's pretty good, but it can be better. It can be better, and this is where the art of editing comes in. And again, nothing's ever right until it is. So with this shot, can I see the shot, please, computer? Let me open that up a bit. I'm going to go and open that up a little bit more. I'm going to give it an extra 2 frames. Of course you bloody did. Yeah. There. And I'm even going to open this back a couple as well. And all right, I'm just going to, for the sake of seeing it properly, just bounce off that bit, use the rain selection tool, share master file. This is what I have to do. I probably don't have enough RAM memory. That's what the problem is. Problem with these Mac Minis, you can only have so much RAM. So here we go. It's doing it. It's doing it. It's doing it. Crunching those numbers. Gosh, we haven't even added any graphics. Here we go. Let's check this out. That's much better. See how that transition between those 2 shots is smoother and more seamless? Feels natural. It's not. There's no jerkiness. The other one, there's something not quite right about it. One more time, just to convince myself, if anything.
Beautiful. I think that's perfect. That is a perfect cut point. So I did end up giving it a couple of frames extra after those cars exited the frame. And it's made all the difference. It just looks more natural, more seamless, not jerky and too tight. Excellent. So now I'm going to add on the fourth shot. So just a second. Okay, let's bring in the final shot. Well, the final shot of what we shot. First of all, this one. Where are we going to cut? That's a great shot. I'm tempted. That's pretty good. See, even though the cars are well and truly away from the arch, in the next shot they're closer to the arch, but it just seems to work. It doesn't matter if they're going over the same area again, like the start, full length down the straight, then again. I like that effect. It's technically not correct because they're going over the same ground, but it works. So I'm thinking, can I even push that back further? No, it looked great. I'm going to stick with it, even though I'm very happy with that. They do look great coming around. That is a good shot. And you saw I got that in one. I was yip-yapping away, mucking around, telling you all this twaddle, and then pushed the button and thunk, got the shot. That's how I roll. Sometimes it doesn't work out that too easy. Takes a little bit longer. But where are we gonna cut? So again, we're going from here. Oh, another thing. I don't mind lights being in shot occasionally. We know this is in a garage. We know we got lights. Again, it's not Hollywood or mainstream TV. It's YouTube. I don't mind the lights, but I do try to make sure that they're not in shot. If it's really obvious, I'll digitally zoom in and crop it, try to get rid of them, because it can look a bit unsightly sometimes, but that is fine. You wouldn't even know it's a light unless you know it's a light. Like that logic? Yeah, that's my story and I'm sticking with it. I reckon it's because I love the movement here. There it is. I'm going to give it another 3 this time. 1, 2, 3. That's just a gorgeous. I'm going to really be cheeky and give it 5 frames after them exiting the frame. So there we go. Next shot, where are we going to cut coming in? Just jogging through 1 frame at a time. Here we come. I like the camera movement. It's like it could be a drone. And we're going into the dark tunnel. Oh, there they are. Okay, in this instance, I'll show you. I'm going to go... There they are, entering frame. Now, I'm going to go back 3. 1, 2, 3. And what did I do with the other one? 5. Yeah, 5 and 3, that should do. That's my edit point. I'm going to drag that over to there on the red line. Let's drag it over. We'll jog through it. Okay, let's see if it'll actually play it back. Okay, that I think might be perfect. Yeah, we got it in one. That's excellent. So it was 5 frames after on the first shot, 3 frames before they enter the screen. If you buttered them tight together, it just doesn't work. It's ridiculous. You've got to have. It's like guitar solo. You can watch those shredders. Well, I do a little bit of that, but it's like Angry Mosquito. And everyone hates angry mosquitoes buzzing around you. You just want to swat the bastard. God, go away. The beauty of great guitar playing is knowing when to be quiet. The silent passages, you hit that note. Wah, silence. Wah, silence. There's an art form to it. It's musical, and it's a kind of a similar thing with the edit. Don't butt them up tight because it just doesn't work. You've got to give it breathing room. You've got to give your eyes a chance to actually see what's going on. And when you just chop them up, butt them up together, yeah, it doesn't work. try it for yourself and see what I mean. But when you give 3 to 5 frames either side, it works so much better. So that's, let's see the end there. Let's make an out point. Now we've got our camera zooming into the dark tunnel of doom. So there it is, it's exited. I'm going to pick it up with my classic walkie tracking shot. We haven't shot that yet, but in that case, I might chop this when the first car exits, because it's now just hitting the straight. So that's probably where I'll pick it up. But just for the time being, I'll chop it there. I'll trim that edit point later. Okay, so let's select that and render that as a complete sequence. I'm pretty happy with all the levels and everything. Looks good. File, share, master file. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Render, please. Yeah, replace it. You asked too many questions, computer. It's going. Very nice, and here it comes. Right, I'm going to put this in full screen mode. Can I get rid of those? Clear. Thank you. All right, let's watch how I'm going to hit the start button down here. Wait till that thing, it's gone. Let's watch this a few times. Okay, that's perfect. Perfect except for shot number 3. Oh, maybe not. One more time. Oh, this is a tricky one. Yeah, okay. Stop. I am feeling that this shot here, my instincts were right, and we could back it up a little bit more. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to be cheeky and do it. And even though, technically it might seem wrong, I think you're going to find it's actually right. So let's give it 1, 2. It's very sensitive, this mouse. Yeah, about there. All right. Let's butt that up there. Same with that. Let me render this one more time, and that'll be the complete little sequence. Well, I've got a lot more work ahead of me. I don't even know how many laps I intend to do. I'm going to just start working on it over this weekend and over the next 2 weeks. Don't forget, we've got to do sound design for this. Once we get all the pictures happening, then the whole sound design is a complete adventure on its own. I've got some genuine sound effects to mix in, genuine Mazda sounds. I've got to get some Porsche sounds. Save it and replace it. Yeah, and all the crowd noises, light music maybe, different sound effects. And again, I'm kind of making up the story as I go. I'm working on instinct. I've got some ideas, but I don't want to give anything away. I've thrown a few red herrings at you. Or maybe they weren't. There's another one. Let's go to full screen. Hopefully this is better. Okay, here we go. Much better. See, backing it up, even though it didn't seem right, when you play it back to the eye, it does look right. Love it. Much better. That's great. Much, much, much better.
there you go, slot car adventurers. A few insightful hints and tips. And again, it's what I do. Well, I haven't shown you all the secret stuff. I'll keep that to myself. You know, the magician doesn't reveal all his tricks, okay? But you get the idea. And maybe next week we'll have a look at the sound design aspect of what I do with that, what sort of effects we lay in. We'll see how it goes. If not, stand by for that completed video in a couple of weeks' time. Oh my God, I've only got a couple of weeks. I better get cracking, hey? I want to do at least 5 laps, and that's going to take some time, as you can now appreciate. Yes, indeed. And don't forget, if you want to really deep dive down the rabbit hole with all this sorts of equipment, don't forget to check out Raoul on Conquest Racing Club. Check out his channel. He's got a few videos showing all the gadgets that are available. He's got all the different kinds of gimbals and all sorts of trickery. I'd probably like a few of those, but I don't really need them at this stage. But great source of reference there. Check them out. Now, what was I listening to this week? Well, I happen to be listening to one of my favourite bands in recent years, and that is hailing from the Netherlands, Delane. Now, they were regarded as a symphonic metal band. When I hear the term symphonic metal band, I have horrific images of Eurovision, you know, Viking costumes and you know the type. Yeah, nothing like that. These guys and girl are right on the cutting edge of awesome hard rock metal with a sort of a symphonic backing. The keyboard player is the brainchild behind it all. This is their latest release with a new singer, still quite good. What's that one called? Dark Waters. Yep, good album. This one was the last one with their original singer Charlotte Wessels, who is just superb. Just words fail me. She is so good. And that was Apocalypse and Chill. Great album. Another one with one of my favourite tracks, Sucker Punch, Moonbathers. Terrific album. This one was huge. The Human Contradiction. Is that it? Yeah. You might recognise the album cover. It certainly was promoted. This came in a sort of a book form. Oh, merch. Cool. And before that, this was a huge breakout hit for them. We Are the Others had the song The Others. A lot of story behind that song. Check it out. Quite disturbing. But my favourite album of theirs all time, and I also have this on vinyl with a special sort of clear vinyl. It looks fantastic. April Rain. This is a masterpiece. Probably one of the first albums I discovered of theirs, and I was just blown away from beginning to end. It just captivated me. The CD version's the best because you get this extra track on the end called Come Closer. It is so good. If you imagine the most epic movie you've ever seen and then they roll the credits, Come Closer, this would be the ideal song to put over those credits. Just fantastic. Great album. So check them out. Delane. Well, there you have it, Slot Car Adventurers. What a great big episode that was. No Slot Car Wildman this week. Well, he's actually out on a shopping spree. Wait till you see all the stuff he's getting. My God, he must have won the lottery or something. Gosh. Anyway, I am getting a bit nervous. I thought 3 weeks would be long enough. Now it's only 2. I better get cracking, hadn't I? We'll see you next week for another episode of Slot Car Adventures.